What's up, family? Welcome back to the Stop Sinking Show, where we go from struggle to flow. I'm sure you've heard the saying, success is never owned, it's rented, and rent is due every day. I was struggling to capture the essence of what I wanted to talk about today, and this quote came to mind, and it neatly sums up some of what I'm about to go into. You are only as good as your last effort. And that is quite a harsh statement as a salesperson, something I'm used to, but it's also by good design. Let me go abstract first and talk about it from a comparison to a well-functioning capitalistic society in which the best function, even though there are many problems that remain, and the cream still rises to the top and wealth still starts to accumulate in fewer and fewer hands, making up the 1%. Still, the best part is of a functioning capitalistic society, and it's not that it solves for the Pareto principle, but more so that it rotates that group in and out. So yes, it is always that the top 20% have 80% of the benefit and do 80% of the work, and the spoils go to the top 20%, and there will always be a top 1%. But the best part that we all miss is that this group constantly rotates and people shift in and out of it. So there isn't some brick wall standing in place keeping you out of this group. Which brings me back to my original point. The reason why it's by good design that rent is due every day. And us not being able to forever eat off the hunt of yesterday, and that you're only as good as your last effort, because it makes room. The reason why it's by good design is because it makes room for that group to be rotated. So when we slow our stride, it gives the person with fresher energy, more renewed spirit to sprint forward ahead of us, leaving us behind. And you have that same opportunity yourself. You do not ever get to pick up speed and coast on the momentum of that. Mainly because everything else will move around us way faster than we'd like, especially since our speed no longer now matches the pace of the environment. So you run until you can run, and you run full speed until you can run full speed. And that will bring you many accolades. But maybe in the later phase in life, or any time you slow down your speed, expect to be overtaken. And that is the harsh but beautiful reality of our ecosystem. And I'm still talking somewhat in an abstract fashion because, sure, you can accumulate your wealth and accumulate your accomplishments and think that it is enough to live through for the rest of your life with that. But it isn't exactly the mathematical equation of your monthly burn versus your liquidity that I'm talking about here. It's much deeper than that. It's more about how you feel about yourself when you slow down. Because those accomplishments from yesterday do not feed your soul the same way as it did when you reached them. And you are designed to constantly conquer. And the search for true Zen never congeals. It never stops. Which is only found in the aiming for your next thing. No aim, no positive emotion. We are goal-seeking beings. We are goal-seeking machines, without which we are lost and have no possibility of assessment of forward progress. You have no way of knowing. Without which you are less human and going against your design. And I can see this play out in my own temperament. In the places I am not progressing, and not seeing myself put in constant effort towards a goal, those parts of me, I find myself trying to live again. Those past glories I once accomplished as a form of reinforcement for myself to drip out any positive emotion I can about past accomplishments. For the things I'm not progressing in, I want to so desperately pass off those past moments as a way to extend the credibility they give me, for myself or even outwardly. It's like the guy in his 40s still talking about his high school football stories. You're trying to get that little hit of serotonin from the status that that old glory gave you. And unfortunately, it changes nothing about your material life today. And if you pay attention to how often you do this, how often you take credit for what you once accomplished, you will recognize this desperate yearning in you and this need in you to constantly conquer. And I see the polar opposite with things that I am constantly progressing in and working on and putting an effort in. For example, my fitness. I almost never want to take credit for where my fitness was even yesterday. I hesitate to send out a progress picture of myself from even a day ago because I know I made progress today too. And the picture from yesterday won't capture that because that picture from yesterday, it's already outdated. It doesn't represent the work I put in today. I don't want to discredit today by taking undue credit for what I did yesterday. My effort today deserves much more respect than that. The glory I earned even yesterday does not suffice the pride I feel about the work I put in today. Every day I etch myself into something that is worthy of appreciating. And this is a stark contrast from trying to live out the old glories of things that we are no longer doing and no longer working on. So we extend and try to stretch out the life of a good feeling that we earned in the past in the realm we are currently failing to uphold and upkeep. And in the quite opposite way, the things we are constantly molding, constantly working away at, no praise from yesterday can keep up with the fruits of the demands that we are putting on ourselves today. Again, reaffirming our own inherent bias towards constantly conquering. Don't credit me with the battle I fought yesterday because the glory was renewed on the field today. But please credit me with all of which I am failing to upkeep as to lend me the good feeling that I was once a conqueror. All as an ode and recognition of our tendency to constantly recreate and relive glory. If not done materially through our actions, then attempted to be done through our thoughts of memories, or through borrowing glory of another's achievements and personalizing it like it was our own, like your favorite sports team. And you may even do this through projecting your accomplishments into the future, things you are going to do in a way to give yourself the feeling of already having achieved it without having done the work. No matter how much you tell me and sell me on how content you are today, this tendency, the warrior in you, looking to conquer, always seeps through. Success isn't rented because you don't get to keep the fruits of your prior success. You do. But you do not possess success because it is not a state of arrival. Success visits you, and depending on the way you show up daily, it decides if it wants to stay by your side or not. Success is rented because for the truly successful, the fruits aren't even what they are after. They are in it for the pursuit, the process, the becoming, just happy to show up. The successful are never done, and the rent is never late. Love you, family. Stay true, always. See you on the next show.